Hello everyone. Welcome back. So this is day 18 of 21 days to building hope. We're again in the home stretch, and I'm going to read out of 365 days to embracing forbidden emotions, and then we'll tap. So January 18th. How would you nurture her if you were the mother of little you? Chris Carr. That's such a great thing to think about. And that's why I always say it's really good to have a photograph of yourself there, because as a child, because it's so much easier to connect with that kid in us when we have that that physical representation. I've just found it tremendously helpful. So my wounded inner child wants to feel accepted and loved. It's a great question for me to ponder. How would I nurture my wounded inner child self? As I ponder this, I might be guided in ways to really reparent my inner child and give to myself what I've never got. I give my wounded child a voice. I listen to this part of me. I honor this part of me. I care for this part of me. I present to this part of me. I'm present to this part of me. I tap into and through anything my wounded inner child needs. What can change for me as I learn to nurture my wounded inner child? I will answer this for myself. Only everything can change for the better. Thought for the day: what if I can find one thing to do for myself so I practice accepting this nurturing and loving part of myself? I read that wrong. Today I can find one thing to do for my little self so I practice accepting this nurturing and loving this part of me. Hey Haiti, how are you? So the wound, we hear John Bradshaw is the one that coined the thing about the wounded child a long time ago. And, I remember seeing it when I was quite young. And there is so much to that in my view. And I really see that's why to me it is so important to connect with a picture of yourself as a child. As I say, I look at pictures of myself that I have around about myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll grab this picture. So this is a photo of me around 6 months old, and right before that, right after that photo was taken, my parents were hit head on by a drunk driver, and my 3 sisters were in the car. So my parents were taken. They're alive. They're past now, but they were hospitalized, and my sisters were in the hospital. So all of a sudden, and I have no memory of this. Of course, I was 6 months, but for that infant's family to be taken away like that for an indefinite period of time. And if you know anything about trauma, especially in that 0 to 8 theta brainwave, how it impacts us, I see now so many ways that's impact me. When I look at that physical picture, I can connect. I have a picture of myself when I was 6 in Catholic school when the nun beat me. And I look and I go, how could anybody beat you? Like, I literally look at that and go, you're 6. So that really has helped me to have empathy and more compassion and really connect to that part of myself. So I can't speak to that enough. So let's tap. Karate chop. Even though it's really good to know, who's running my show? Is it the bully in my brain that's constantly bullying me? Or is it that wounded child? Oh, thanks, Raquel. Back to you. I choose to honor my truth right now. Even though who's running my show? If I have that strong emotional charge, panic, fear, anxiety, that's my wounded child. But I bet I learned to beat up that part of me because I learned to treat myself the way I was treated. I choose to honor my truth right now. Even though I want to nurture my inner child, because that part of me is wounded. And what if I can reparent this part of me and see things differently? And go to the eyebrow. What if the next time I catch myself judging myself, getting down on myself? Why are you behaving like that? Oh, you're so stupid. Put your big girl pants on. Put your big boy pants on. What if when I catch that, I can recognize that's the bully in my brain. My inner bully who's coming after the wounded child in me. And what if just by noticing that, I start to interrupt this pattern? I start to calm and soothe myself. And what if that changes so much for me? I like the idea that I can start to separate from that bully that beats me up and that wounded child in me who needs my love and acceptance. And it's a practice. It will take time. But what if step by step I can get there? When I catch myself criticizing myself, what if I could practice saying, it's okay. Nobody's perfect. You're okay, baby. You're not doing anything wrong. And what if the more I practice this, the better I'll feel over time? Because I'm calming and soothing this part of me. And what if that changes everything? Because I learn to give to this part of me what this part never got. Some acceptance and even loving kindness. So take a breath. So I know I've done videos about this before, but I mean, repetition is the mother of skill, and you cannot, I just don't think you can hear this enough. I have to be reminded of it all the time. It's that who's running my show. It's that, that punitive, punishing voice. Well, you're so stupid. Why'd you do that? To me, that's what I call the bully. It's like, so I catch that. I tell mine to F off because mine's demonic most of the time. And then other times it's the rational, reasonable. Well, you really should do that, and you should say this, and you should try that, and you should, you shouldn't feel that way. Can sound rational, reasonable, but you feel bad. So it's the bully. And then that part tends to beat up on the child. And then it's like, it's okay. I literally at times, I remember one time having, I'll call it an incident with my husband. We were having some dissension. And I just was like, I caught myself and I'm like, it's okay, baby. It's okay. I caught that kid in me getting so hooked in the way I always did in Catholic school or with my parents, hooked into the, I did something wrong. It's my fault. It's this. And I was like, it's okay, baby. It's okay. I was saying it quietly to myself. You didn't do anything wrong here. You didn't do anything wrong. I swear that is life-changing. The more you practice it and the more you catch that and catch yourself in the act of it. It's like, that's the work. Is like, I'm not perfect. My sister who passed away in 2019 who has special needs. My parents used to argue like big time. And she would come down and stomp into the room and go, love one another. And she'd say, if mistakes were made, she'd go, nobody's perfect. She would not hang. That was her immediate response to it. She was such a freaking earth angel because she wasn't stuck in the trappings the rest of us have. She could bypass that. And what if we could say that for ourselves? Nobody's perfect. What would Mary say? That was my sister. What would Mary say? Mary would say, nobody's perfect. Mary would say, you're doing the best you can. Mary would say, love one another. Mary would say all these, you're beautiful. You're wonderful the way you are. She was such a light giver of love and acceptance. We could have all learned so much from her. But to learn to do that to ourselves, who needs our love more than anything? We need to live it and give it to ourselves. So Rachel, thank you. Sending you love. Thank you for sharing with us. You are so welcome. Oh, Raquel, right? Rachel. Sorry, I know a friend that pronounces it Raquel, even though it's not spelled with a Q. So you're Rachel, I think. And then the other one pronounces it that way. Haiti, thank you so much for being here as well. And if you found this helpful, it'll be on YouTube shortly, as it'll be posted in this group, and it'll stay here as long as this group's here. So take good care, and you can practice nurturing that inner child today. Bye-bye.